All right, what's good, y'all? On tonight's episode of It Knicks and Ish, we got some exciting news to talk about. Tonight's topics cover Landry Shamet's re-signing, Garrison Mathews joining the roster, Malcolm Brogdon signing. Oh, sorry, y'all. That's nasty work. Malcolm Brogdon signing to the Knicks. We're going to grade Leon Rose off season, and of course, we got Carmelo Anthony's induction to the Hall of Fame, and Frass, the Parlay Lords picks for week 2, and we're going to recap his picks for week 1. All this and more on this episode of Knicks and Ish. Frass.
Hit the intro.
Mic check 1, 2.
Action!
Tell these rappers I'm outside, get them start acting up. Turning hoes to housewives and cleaning the ratchet up. Do it off from boom back to melody rap. If they can put you in the box, then you might as well pack it up. Bars having bars, no cap, I'm Attica, you a precinct. How y'all competing when y'all just decent? Your rhyme efficiency's like logic simplicity. Don't tell me how much that you black, cause I don't see it. That's it. Welcome to Reset.
Fuck the ball! Fuck everybody on the front! When we say on the finals, bring that same energy, nigga!
Yeah. Live and direct on your YouTube screen once again. It is your favorite Knicks and Ish panel. We're back with another episode. Y'all already know the vibe. I am the one and only Parlay Lord, a.k.a. Frass Task, here in the building. Of course, I got the Knicks and Ish panel with me. Let's not forget, she's back from hiatus. The first lady of Knicks and Ish, Mrs. Nixon, back in the building. Shout out to sis for being here. Of course, we got the one and only Knickerbocker Ave is in the building here. Once again, our newest member to the panel. Salute the Knickerbocker Ave. And of course, we can't forget about our good brother, the host, the one and only, T-Time.
Plug.
Even though his effect ain't working, he still will always be a spark plug. You know what I mean?
Plug. Yeah. Shout out to everybody in the building. You know what I mean? Let's get some quick shout outs out the way. You know what I mean? I saw Michael Brown in the building. Nostalgia Nick in the building. Who else was in here? Yeah. Who else was in here? Dwayne was good. Was good. D was good. Yeah, shout out to everybody in the building. Right, before we get into brass tacks and handling business, we gotta acknowledge our good brother Frass on his birthday. Happy birthday to the Parlay Lord himself. You know what I mean? Much blessings, more life, and bruh, I think I speak for all of us when I say I'm happy that you are part of my life, not only just this panel, homie. Yeah, you know I mean, more life to you. You feel me? Yeah.
Appreciate all the love, man. I'm just here doing what I do best. The Parlay Lord, the one and only. Shout out to Marley Marl for the name. If y'all wondering where the name came from, of course, it came from the one and only Marlon Mayhem. Shout out Marley Marl. He already know what it is. Yeah, I mean, that's how the Parlay Lord came to fruition. So if y'all wondering, Marley Marl, you know what I mean?
Yeah, shout out to Mayhem Marlon. And yeah, I mean, but yeah. So moving on, first topic of the night. I mean, Landry Shamet resigns to the Knicks on a 1-year non-guaranteed deal. I guess I'll start this topic off. This feels like for Landry Shamet, because I know there was a few other offers on the table. As you owe us one, right? You owe us one, right? When you got hurt and you dislocated your shoulders, we signed you, we let you rehab, getting paid in the shade. You owe us one. Because I feel like there was definitely probably, people who could have paid him way more than we could have that was interested. But he decided and he prioritized coming back to the Knicks. I read something about he prioritized continuity and all that with coming back to the roster. Also, I believe that he feels that, this is his chance to get a ring. You feel me? Like, there's his chance to get a ring. He played. I didn't even know he played that many games with us last year. I ain't gonna lie. 50 games is kind of a lot. I wouldn't have guessed that. Yeah, I mean, but in his limited role, I like what we got from him, especially when he started, getting more consistent minutes. I'm gonna land the plane there for right now, just because I don't want to steal the thunder from anybody else. Panel, take it away.
Anybody? I'll go ahead. I'm super excited that they decided to sign him, or at least give him the non-guaranteed. I mean, to me, it was super. As a fan, means a lot when a player would take a non-guaranteed contract over a guaranteed contract to run it back with us. I think, like you said, when he got consistent minutes, he played hella well, and we all know what he can do offensively for us. But one thing that stood out to me, especially down the road, down the end of the line last season, was his play against the Pacers. Like, defensively, he locked in. And when he was in the game with DeLon Wright, the way they changed the game was good to see. Offensively, we know what he gives us. He gives us that all night. But to see him be able to lock in on defense is super good. And we'll see. I mean, I would like him back. We've had this discussion, off online. He's the guy that I want to run it back with if we had to choose. But yeah, I'm super excited. And I think he's going to prove himself this offseason. Or this preseason, sorry.
Honestly, Landry Shamet, it's a low risk, high reward kind of situation. He's already familiar with the team. He's familiar with the guys. He played crucial moments and definitely in the playoffs. As just mentioned, when you insert when Thibodeau finally let him play in the Indiana series, you saw the difference. You saw a spark plug. You saw a different dynamic to this team. It's just kind of like it is a little disheartening that it's under these conditions. It's a non-guaranteed deal. He's not guaranteed a playoff spot, so therefore he's not even guaranteed a spot on this team come opening night. But he has a chance to compete. He has a chance to beat out a bunch of other guys that are going to be in there, which we're going to talk about in a minute. And I like what he brings. I like his sharpshooting. I like his consistency. I like his fire. I like his moxie. He's a spark plug when he's on. When he's off, it's a tale of two games. But again, low risk, high reward. I'm happy with the signing, and I'm looking forward to see what he does.
And just to jump into that, he wasn't off much. When he was off, it was because he wasn't getting playing time. And you really can't expect a shooter to make shots if they're coming in for 2-3 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, a shooter needs some type of flow. And once he got flow in the game, his shot was good as good.
Yeah. That's a fact. That's a fact. Frass, talk to me, Playboy.
Before I talk to the people, shout out Darlene. I know you in them comments, sis. I saw you. Thank you for the birthday wishes. You already know, sis. Much love and respect. Know what I mean?
Darlene.
But definitely, of course, it's only but to be expected that Shaman has been nothing but full circle with this team since coming here. He's already voiced his opinion on being all in to play with this team, even through the injury and him getting back rehabbing, playing some decent minutes for us last season. One thing I do see, and this is gonna kind of be a little bit of a segue, which I'm kind of was hoping for. All these players, these three players that are going to be mentioned, including Shaman, who was just mentioned, and the two other guys that we're going to get into shortly. I think this is bringing a little bit of competition for that last roster spot. You know what I mean? It ain't given. You got to earn that. You know what I'm saying? As much as we love to have you here, you got to earn that, my guy. You got to show you belong. And the other two guys have a pretty good case to belong here as well. And I kind of like the fact that we're not just handing out a roster spot. Leon Rose, you done did it again, my guy. You done did it again. Yeah. I'm telling you done did it again, and I'm gonna leave it there. Yeah. Can't say too much.
But before we move on, I want to, give a little shout out. Shout out to the guy Michael Brown, right? Because something very interesting happened today. I leave work. I'm on my way home, right? And I'm in a car. My brother Tyrone Briggs, the guy who sings the raps the intro to our podcast, he calls me. Me and him work at the same hospital. And he's like, "Yo, T, I'm walking around and I bump into this very lovely young lady, and look what she's wearing." And he turns around, she has on a Knicks-ish hoodie.
Hey.
Right? So I'm like, "Oh, that's crazy." So she's like, "Yeah, my husband, he loves the show. He loves the show." Like, and I'm like, "Yo, who's your husband?" She's like, "Michael Brown." So shout out to my guy, Michael Brown.
Definitely. Shout out
to my bro, Michael Brown. Shout out to his wife for rocking the Knicks-ish hoodie at the work. Yeah, I mean.
He said small world.
A small world, man. Because I work at that hospital too, for sure. And that was just dope. That was a dope little experience today. I was like, because it caught me off guard, like, oh snap. Then she's like, "Yeah, my husband, he loves the show." And I'm like, "Who's your husband?" Said Mike Brown. I was like, "Yo, my guy." Yeah. So shout out to you, Mike Brown. Shout out to you and your wife, man. Appreciate y'all. Word. Moving on to the next topic. JJ Jackson is in the building. We see you, a Knicks fan who just entered the chat. Frankie Fingers.
Good, salute. Thank you, my God.
If you in the building, please make sure you hitting that like button. If you're new here, make sure you subscribing. Yeah, what I mean, and as always, sharing is always caring. You know the vibes. So moving on, the Knicks signed Garrison Mathews to a 1-year deal. Anybody know the number on that? Oh, it's not guaranteed, just like the other.
Not guaranteed.
Right? It's a training camp. Mm-hmm.
It's an exhibit 10, as we like to call it here in basketball terms. Yes, it's an exhibit 10.
So boom, I'm not gonna start this one off because I don't want to steal no thunder. I'm gonna hand this one off to the panel, and I guess I close this one out. But yeah, talk to me. How y'all feeling about Garrison Mathews to the Knicks?
Here, I'll start it off real quick. I don't want to try to take up too much of the information either. You know what I mean? I see this kid is very good at floor spacing, from what I hear. His floor spacing is excellent. He knows. I know one thing about him as well. His 3-point shot. From what I heard, career 38% 3-point shooter, if I'm not mistaken, which is very good for a career number. Yes, 38% is very good for a career number.
Cool.
The other main thing I like about him, he is a corner 3 guy as well, which, that we kind of live and die by the corner 3. So you have another guy who can hit from the corner. And this is the key part about Garrison Mathews that I like. There's always a potential for a 4-point play with this guy, Garrison Mathews, shooting the 3. He knows how to draw contact, get to the line from the 3-point shot. Those are all excellent reasons why Garrison Mathews would be a viable option in that last roster spot. And I'm going to land the plane right there.
Garrison Mathews, he has a nickname of Gary Bear when he was with the Celtics. Because he has like a shot that's similar to Larry's. It's not as consistent as Larry's, obviously, and it's not as legendary as it, but it's got that style, it's got that flavor, as the Parlay Lords just mentioned. He draws a lot of contact because he gets guys up on the pump fake. He draws a lot of closeouts, and he still is lethal from the 3-point line. Another one of those Leon Rose, low risk, high reward kind of ideas, because he could be a G League, he could just be a roster invitee. He actually might end up beating out Landry Shamet, and of course the last person we have to speak about, the big one of the day. But I like that the emphasis of Leon Rose in filling out that last roster spot is, key offensive off the bench. We need more of that. The Knicks were the 10th out of 16 teams in the playoffs last year in 3-point shooting. They desperately needed. They couldn't do anything with it besides, Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns. Yeah, you had Mikal Bridges hit a couple. You saw Josh Hart try to take a couple. You saw OG Anunoby try to take a couple. But if you got another guy on the floor who can space the floor out, who can hit that shot, is a knockdown shooter, and will draw defenders, that's just going to open up a whole litany of matchup problems for the opposition's defense. This is another one of those. Leon, you did good, my guy. I'm excited for the possibility of a Garrison Mathews in orange and blue this season.
No, I agree. I mean, when we signed him, when all these three came down between yesterday and today, I'm like, oh, Leon loading that clip. He ready. Just because we didn't see it coming, right? Like, we, behind the scenes, were Shamet or Brogdon, right? Which one of the two? And to see both of them plus Garrison Mathews was just like, okay, I love it. I love that Leon saw what our weakness was last season, and he did what needed to be done to make sure that that's not our weakness this season. And having three shooters compete for the last roster spot, which will absolutely benefit our bench this season. It's awesome to see. I mean, he's a shooter. I think in all the seasons he's played, he's averaged over 40% three-point shooting in 3 of the seasons. His career field goal percentage, not three-point, regular field goals is over 40%. That's great. That's great numbers for me. And just to think about it, with the guys that he will be playing with on the bench if he makes the roster spot, that's what makes it even better, right? Because he's going to be running with a Clarkson. He's going to be running with Josh Hart if Hart is on the bench, with a Deuce. Like, these guys are going to be able to get either him or either one of the other two guys the ball so easily their percentages are going to be great with us. So just the possibility of any of the three feels good for me as a Knicks fan. I'm with it. I'm with all of it.
So with Garrison Mathews, I look at it like this, right? We all know he's a gunner. He can shoot that. He can shoot the rock. Then you look at not only just playing with the bench, you also got to look at the possibilities of him being intermingled with some of the starters. There's going to be times that he's probably, if he makes the roster, that he's going to be probably paired with Cat and Jalen Brunson on the court. And then you have to look at that, right? You want somebody of his shooting caliber when they have to collapse on the Cat, when they have to collapse on JB in the paint, and you got a career 39% three-point shooter behind the arc sitting there waiting for catch and shoot. That's fire. Yeah, I mean, the only knock that I might have on Garrison Mathews is that he's not really that great of a defender. Like he might be a little bit of liability on the defensive end. But I think used the right way, I think the pros outweigh the cons when you talk about Garrison Mathews. And like Frass alluded to, like, the possibility for 4-point players getting, those 3 points, getting 3 free throws from the line. That's huge to think about too. But kind of the segue, unless anybody else have anything to say on Garrison Mathews, but it's going to be a very healthy competition when it comes for that last roster spot, especially when you start considering who the last person is that got signed to a non-guarantee. I mean, everybody's on their toes. Antennas is up.
And I think, although he may be a defensive liability, if you pair it, like you said, with the right pieces around him, it could be masked, right? Because you put him with good defenders on that second unit, or if he's running with the first unit with a Macau or OG, that could kind of mask it a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, I think with the team we have, and if you move the pieces correctly in substitutions, what we consider defensive liabilities may not be so, and it may just benefit us offensively.
I
Yeah,
agree with that.
guarantee.
Agree with that.
I guarantee this. Garrison Mathews is going to find a home in the NBA this season.
Oh, for sure.
It may not be in the Knicks, but he's going to find it. And I'm pretty sure if he at least gets into the preseason and gets some burn, he's going to have a lot of teams looking at his sharp shooting ability and be like, I might be lacking something. And so I wish him well. I hope he succeeds and he succeeds with the Knicks. But I'm pretty sure that guy is going to find a home somewhere down the line in the NBA, and he's going to be killing it from downtown.
Yeah,
And
for
he
sure.
also turned down a guaranteed contract to sign this non-guaranteed.
So now this is going to be the segue into the next one. That just goes to show how teams are finally viewing the Knicks. Our players are finally viewing the Knicks. Us being a serious viable championship option this year. Us being one of the top in odds to win the title this year. That shows with the caliber of guys who's taking non-guaranteed contracts just to try to be a part of this roster and possibly win a ring. When you start seeing the vets of the league, the guys 5 year plus, 6 years plus in the league, the role players where they're like this, when they start looking around like, I don't know how many more years I got left. This might be my chance to get one. So let me take whatever I can get over here versus trying to fight to make something happen over here. That's how, this is how this contract feels, Landry Shamet contract feels, and going into our next topic, Michael Brogdon contract feels. Especially a player like Michael Brogdon, because if we do have to put Malcolm, yeah, my fault. It's the wine. The wine is kicking in, y'all.
Down.
Yeah. Malcolm Brogdon, his contract feels the same way. And especially when you look at the caliber of player that Malcolm Brogdon is, right? Like, he's a really good role player. Like, he's like one of the top role players, if you will, when healthy. Yeah, I mean, obviously there was some health issues, but when he's on his game, he won 6th Man of the Year. Like, this is the caliber player that we're talking about who's taking a non-guaranteed contract to join this team or to try to join this team. And that just brings a smile on my face in that. Malcolm Brogdon, he's a good offensive player. His three-point shooting numbers last year don't really tell a story on how he could score the ball from behind the arc. He's a little bit better three-point shooter than pass it off to the rest of the panel.
I mean, just to add on to what T-Time was saying about Brogdon, he's a playmaker. I mean, he's a proven playmaker. Kind of gives you a little bit of the complete package. I mean, the shooting, the ball handling, the playmaking, veteran leadership. When he's on point, when he's focused, like, he's one of those kind of players who's just like locked in. When he's locked in, like, he's one of those players that locked in. He could come down and run the plays when Jalen Brunson's not on the floor. He could set up the pick and roll. He could set up your other plays. His injury history is a bit of a problem for me because at the end of the day, it's like, bro, you got to be on the court. You know what I mean? A caliber player like yourself has to be on the court. But I am definitely for the possibility of having a Malcolm Brogdon on this bench with the kind of bench players and starters that we have. He can definitely be that guy to keep Jalen Brunson in that 30 to 35 minute range on the floor, because you have somebody who could come in and run the offense, so to speak, who's not Josh Hart. Let me say that before I continue. Who's not Josh Hart? Because at the end of the day, a lot of the times Josh Hart will be that guy who comes in off the bench and is running the offense. Now you got the possibility of having somebody on the bench who can take over that duty, and then you can put him in addition to a player like Josh Hart, who is only going to complement off of a guy like this because of his playmaking ability.
Malcolm Brogdon, it seems that we've been trying to get this guy for the last 3 years, hasn't it? Like three.
Yeah.
His name has been in the Twitterverse for that long and has been mentioned in trades and signings and this, that, and now we finally got him, and we got him under these kind of extenuating circumstances. It's a non-guaranteed 1 year veteran deal, and he also, as has been alluded to repeatedly, also turned down guaranteed deals to come join the New York Knicks because he sees the possibility of not just winning a championship, but at least extending his career a lot longer. Because if he does perform here, let's just be realistic. We've been saying this for almost 2.5 decades. If you do something big here in New York, it gets noticed. And when it does get noticed, what tends to happen? The money will follow. So just look at the numbers that he does in the playoffs alone. 43 games of playoff experience. That's veteran leadership that not many players in this NBA today have. Averaging 12 a game, shooting almost 38% from downtown, is one of the most lethal guys out there. Of course, the biggest knock on him is twofold. One is his age. Two is his durability. The guy has a horrible injury history. But maybe this is the year that he turns it around. Why? Because, as has been alluded to repeatedly on the show just now, this might be his best shot at finally getting an NBA championship. And with the Knicks being in the position that they are in this Eastern Conference, where really you're looking at Atlanta and you're looking at Orlando and you're looking at Chicago and you're looking at like, they ain't gonna do shit. All you really worry about is Cleveland, Detroit, and maybe one other team.
We're not even really worried about Cleveland, bro. We pack them up. We pack them up every year.
The only time you worry about Cleveland is in the regular season.
Exactly. So, and I really think that if you add Malcolm Brogdon to that equation, I think you pack him up during the regular season as well, to be honest with you. Because now you have somebody that's going to spell Jalen Brunson, is going to get him off the ball, Mike Brown can then utilize him to really emphasize the catch and shoot ability of a Jalen Brunson, of a Karl Anthony Towns, of an OG Anunoby, of a Mikal Bridges, and yes, even Josh Hart. Josh Hart will then not be stuck with the ball, having to force himself to take a three, to now he can be spot up in a position where he's comfortable in taking the three and being lethal as he tends to be here from time to time. I love the fact that Malcolm Brogdon is finally here. Would have loved him a year or two ago. Not gonna lie, but I'm glad that he's finally here. Welcome to the Knicks. Hope he succeeds. And Leon Rose is cooking.
Yeah,
cooking for sure. I literally woke up and it popped up on my X notifications, and I'm like, because yesterday, right, we got the notification of Shamet and Garrison. So this morning, I'm like, wait, is this real? And I had to turn over to Frank, like, look who the Knicks just signed. Super excited because, like you said, T-Time, last season's numbers don't tell his story, right?
Yeah.
Before last season, his three-point shooting is over 41%. His regular field goal shooting is over 40%, with one season being 50%. That is great shooting. And if he can be healthy, and I think that was our conversation behind the scenes, is who do we prefer? And some of us prefer Shamet only because of his health. But if he can remain healthy, you go for it. Like you said, he was a sixth man of the year. He plays defense. Offensively, he can run the show, and is a threat. Man, it's going to be fun to watch these three compete, to be honest. It's going to be just as fun as the regular season watching these three compete for this spot.
Yeah. You know, I think somebody made the point. I can't remember who exactly. What I think the most important thing, you know, we talked about his scoring. He's a solid defender as well. But I think the thing that we need to talk about him as well is the fact that what his facilitating going to mean to the second unit. Yeah, I mean, as much as I like, you know, Deuce, I don't think Deuce is a great facilitator. Do I think Deuce could run the point in spot minutes? Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, but I don't think he's a great facilitator. He said, nah. I said spot minutes. Spot minutes. I don't want it long term, but I think he could suffice in spot minutes.
I think, if he had to, yes.
Yeah.
To me, he's just an undersized shooting guard to me.
To me, you need a great system around Deuce McBride for him to run the point. Yeah, I mean, it has to be a great system. It has to be plays run. You can't expect him to create magic. Yeah, I mean, he's not one of those guys. But Uncle Paulie is in the building. It was good, my geyser. Yeah, but that part of his game to me means a lot more to me than his actual scoring. Is the fact that he's going to be able to facilitate. He could get by his guy. Yeah, I mean, he could make the defense collapse. He could kick. And with the kind of shooters that we have on this roster now, in the starters and in the bench, like that is going to be super valuable. Also, something that we could talk about, you know, we speak about his injury history. We got the kind of roster where, like, we could kind of carry him into the playoffs. You know, like, we don't need him to play big minutes in a regular season. You know what I mean? Like, we could kind of, hey, listen, man, if he does make the roster, right? If he does make the final roster, it's like, hey, man, we're going to play you some minutes. You're going to get some minutes. We're going to keep you engaged in basketball. But at the same time, we're not there yet. Who's jumping the gun? I'm
Wasn't me.
Come on, Nickelback. I'm still talking. I appreciate the enthusiasm. Word.
I didn't do nothing. I'm over here.
You raised your hand. I thought, who was it?
I do it.
Yeah, it wasn't me.
That was wild. It just went to a whole nother. And I'm talking, so obviously it wasn't me. That was crazy. But you know, like I said, we're gonna keep him. We have the ability to keep him engaged, like, and keep him in rhythm in basketball without having to pause his body. You know what I mean? Because Paulie in the building, Pause Patrol is in the building. They got to be on my P's and Q's. The pause, we don't have to overtax his body because we have the roster now that could allow him to, you know, load manage, if you will. You know what I mean? Until
remain
we get
healthy.
to
We will call it remain healthy.
Yeah, yeah. And then, you know, Nickelback posted his playoff numbers. That's huge too. We didn't really speak too much about that. Like, he's a playoff performer. You know what I mean? And when you going into the playoffs, you need that. And I'm pretty sure, like, because for the most part of his career, he's been a player coming off the bench. He had a stint where he was a starter, but like for the most part, he's been a bench player. And if this is coming off your bench in the playoffs, how could you be mad at these numbers? Shooting 38% from 3-point range. I wish the regular field goal percentage was a little bit higher. 42 is kind of on the low end, but 12 points per game coming off your bench in the playoffs, that's tough. That's tough, and that's the kind of production you need when Jalen Brunson goes to the bench. You know what I mean? So hopefully this works out. This competition is going to be great to see. You know what I mean? And like the next topic said, Leon Rose is cooking.
Hold on, because before we hit that one, Uncle Paulie brought it up, and we talked about it earlier. Well, it was mentioned earlier. There is a possibility to keep 2 of the 3 with a move being made.
I was going to talk about that, but I forgot about that. Thank you. So I don't know what that looks like. I don't know how much money needs to be freed up. But I did see that there's a possible. Go ahead, Frass. I know you got the number. Go ahead.
I don't mean to cut off, but I believe the number is somewhere around. If you're like, okay, when it comes to the second apron of the CBA, right? I believe the number has to be somewhere around like 7 million in that range for the second apron, to where you can have one vet minimum player, and then it was something else. So you can have both of them in that scenario.
It's a rookie. It's a the vet minimum player and second round rookie contract.
Yes, something like that. Yes,
right. But in order to keep 2 of the 3, we would have to trade someone off, so that we can stay within the apron, and the roster spots, right? Because we don't have unlimited roster spots. So the vet minimum in the NBA is something like 2.3 mil, which isn't that hard to make happen if it needs to happen.
I got a theory. I already see if that's the kind of money, if that's the kind of money that needs to be freed up to keep those 3 guys, right?
Yeah.
Like, listen, I'm looking at
not 3 of them, to keep 2 of them. I mean, 2 of the 3.
Now I'm looking at 3 people on the lower left-hand side of the picture that's coming up that might have to bounce. We talk about, and look, and this is why I say, Nickelback, I see your reaction, but look at what the title of the graphic says. I can't definitively tell you that any one of those 3 guys is going to help us get a championship. I haven't seen enough for either one of those 3 guys to be like, if we keep them, they're going to contribute something great to help us win a championship.
I mean, realistically, we haven't seen anything from 2 of them. Nothing.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. And we did get some small sample sizes of Tyler, but now when you talk about either 2 of those 3 guys that we just signed, we know for a fact what they bring to the table, and we know exactly how they can help us contribute winning. So if it's a place where we have to decide, are we going to keep 2 of these 3 guys? Somebody on the lower left is going. Somebody on the lower left is out of here. You know what I mean?
If I may, I want to clarify that real quick, because the vet minimum actually goes by experience. All right. The vet minimum actually goes by experience. Starting with rookies, if you have no experience in the NBA, the bare vet minimum is 1.27 million. Okay, you can look it up. I'm sure I'm in the ballpark. I think it's 1.272 million, something like that. All right. And then it goes incrementally on how many years experience a player has. So the vet minimum varies by the player's experience in the league. Okay, just to clear that up for everybody out there. All right. So the vet minimum for these 3 players is going to vary because of the experience that each one of them has. So that's going to play an important role in who gets kept as well, because of how high the vet minimum is going to be. Whether or not the Knicks want to keep that flexibility in the cap, that's Leon Rose's shtick. You know what I mean? So to speak.
Well, it goes without saying, I'm almost certain that something is going to happen in the next couple of weeks. What it is, we don't know. We don't know what Leon is cooking. We smell something is cooking, we just don't know what it is. And anybody who speculates that they already know that it's going to be Tyler Kolek or Pacome Dadier or Kevin McCullough Jr. or Mohamed Diawara or someone else, we're not going to know until the day it actually happens. So you get that alert on X from Shams or whatever. We're not going to know what's going to happen, because I don't think that it's going to be exactly what anyone just thinks. It's going to be creative. Leon Rose has been creative with our roster, with our cap flexibility, and with and with our drafting decisions. So for that, I'm just saying this: stay tuned, because the second it does happen, we'll be right here and we're going to analyze it. But until then, stop speculating and stop trying to jump the gun, because none of us are going to know what it is, who it is, or how it's going to happen. It actually might even be somebody you thought was untouchable. I'm just saying.
So I'm looking on Hoops Hype at what the vet minimums are for the guys. I just put Knicks salaries. So Brogdon's hasn't come up yet, of course, because it just happened today. But Shamet's vet minimum is $3 million, and then Garrison Mathews is $2.8 million. That's their vet minimum pay. Now, remember, one is guaranteed a spot. So if we wanted to sign two, we would just really need to move a player.
Yeah.
One player. It's not like we need to get rid of 2 for 1 or 3 for 1. But I agree. I think something's going to happen. I think there's no way they sign this magnitude of this caliber of these 3 guys and not have a plan to at least keep 2 of them. I don't see it happening. I think
also
one of the young guys is gone.
You also have to figure in if there's another need throughout the season, you still have the February trade deadline that you have to consider. And if we're way over the second apron, I mean, Frass can tell you all about the restrictions. I mean, he kind of went over it a little bit just now, but the restrictions over the second apron just becomes even astronomically for Leon Rose to make a move. And I'm not saying, if we try to trade for a superstar, that's not what I'm talking about, but to make any move, any kind of improvement, any kind of change to make this team, get from where it is to the promised land, it's going to have to take some Leon Rose, Worldwide West, and Gerson Rojas's creativity, as they have been doing thus far.
Yeah. Obviously nobody knows what's going to happen, and we've contended that on this show for quite some time. We don't know what is going to happen with this team because they do a great job. Yeah, they do a great job of, kind of keeping things under wraps. Because you might have a hint. We had a hint that it was going to be Shamet or Malcolm Brogdon, but we didn't know it was going to be both of them. This is what I'm saying. Like you never know. You never know. We was like, yeah, it's gonna be either or, but then you get both. So I don't want to speculate what's gonna happen. I do want to speculate. Actually, that's exactly what I'm about to do. I'm about to speculate.
May I just say this though?
Yeah.
I want to thank my Heavenly Father that it's not Brad Simmons.
Right. Listen.
Facts.
We know he ain't built for this. You know what I mean?
He wasn't built for this.
Yeah. But I'm definitely about to speculate. I think it might be Tyler out of here. You know what I mean? I think it might, because and here's why. I don't think it's because of the lack of talent. I just think Pacombs, I think his ceiling is higher. I think Hug Purdy feels a need for this team, which is a true backup 5. And we just signed the other guy, so we can't. I forgot his name. The other center that we signed this offseason. He was in the graphic. He was like the last guy before
Yabusele?
Yeah. No, not Yabusele. Not Yabusele. Put the graphic back up. I could point him out. Right next to the last, to the 3 guys.
DOR?
Yeah.
Hey, the draft pick.
Yeah, the draft pick.
Yeah. So I don't see him going anywhere because we literally just drafted the kid. You know what I mean? And his contract probably really don't hold much of any value. So I think it's going, if there's a move, it's Tyler. You know what I mean? I think it's Tyler. I think is a team that probably could see him as something that they could probably, develop and work on. But I just think the Combs ceiling is just way higher, and you keep that. You know what I mean? If there's a move to keep two of the three, you know what I mean? We don't know if that's going to happen because, like I said, we never know what's going to happen. And, we just get the news. You know what I mean? No knock to nobody, but this ain't the show that we're going to sit here in front like we got insider information. But from what I've heard, from what I've heard,
First in Madison Square Garden. I just
yeah, from what I've heard, from what my sources have told me,
right.
nah,
Yeah.
this ain't that. But it's gonna be interested to see what may happen. But like Knickerbocker said, when it happens, we be here to report it. Yeah, I mean, so boom.
Segue.
Yeah, next topic. It been a lot of moves made this off season. It's been a lot of moves been made this off season. Leon Rose has definitely. What happened? Who did
Wait,
that?
you went.
I didn't do it.
Me.
I didn't do it.
What's the next topic?
Yeah, I ain't do it. But Leon Rose has definitely been in the kitchen this off season. A lot of moves has been made. So at this point, we're going to kind of give a little grade to what Leon Rose has done this off season, and I guess I'll start it. I'm going to start it by saying this. Listen, I didn't forget y'all was putting those sleeping memes about my boy. I didn't forget that. I have not forgotten the sleeping memes y'all was running with, repeatedly posting on my timelines about the GOAT. Stop.
Disclaimer: this is a semi rant. Disclaimer.
It's not even a semi rant. I'm just saying. I just didn't forget, Frass. That's it. If y'all watch Game of Thrones, the North remembers.
That's facts.
The North remembers. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. But if I have to give a grade, right? I'm gonna do my little spiel and then I'm gonna give a grade. First thing I wanted to say, somebody said it earlier. He attacked every need of the team this offseason. And you got to start that with the coach. You know what I mean? As much as I love Coach Tommy T, you know what I mean, and appreciate what he did and still think that he deserved a shot to at least try to run it back because he got further than he did last year. I do think there was a need for somebody who was going to expand playing the roster a little bit more. Like if I'm going into the offseason and I'm going to go get more players to make this roster better, I'm going to need a coach that's going to play said players, right? And if I'm going to go out and get a Jordan Clarkson, I'm going to need a coach that's going to play him 25 plus minutes a night. You feel me? So I think it was a great job by Leon Rose going to get Mike Brown, somebody who's known for expanding his roster. You know what I mean? He plays 9 to 10 guys. Like that was a first big, initially after I got over my initial shock, obviously, oh man, Tibbs, why? And then I came back to realizing and think about it, like that was a really smart move. Then you add the Jordan Clark edition, the Yabusele edition. That was really good pickups. Yeah, I mean, so in brief summation, because I don't want to steal nobody's thunder, I'm gonna give Leon Rose an A. He would have got an A plus if he got bowl for me, but you know what I mean. I gotta do that. I had to.
I
I
was
had to.
waiting. I
He
was
get an A.
waiting.
He could have got an A plus, but he didn't get bowl.
True. But before I give my grade, I gotta shout out Kev because I don't know if y'all remember, but Kev is one of the first people who mentioned Malcolm Brogdon coming here. Yeah, I gotta shout out Kev, the co-host of the show. You know what I mean? Shout out my guy Kev Rodriguez, man. He know what it is. He know the vibe. But Leon Rose, man. Let me talk to y'all real quick about Leon Rose, man. You definitely addressed the issue of needing some more guys on the bench with the additions of Clarkson, Yabusele. Gave us a coaching upgrade where we have the potential with Mike Brown to have better management of the rotations and possibly better offense with other guys who normally don't have a say in the offense or usually get plays drawn up for them in the offense are going to actually have a role. Like, for instance, we've been hearing all summer about Mitch Robinson working. I know y'all have seen the videos. We've talked about it here in Knicks. I really think Mike Brown is going to find a way to utilize Mitch Robinson and get him scoring. I like the fact that you posting him up now. You're trying to get him to post up, jump hooks, and you're going to his strengths. You're playing to his strengths. And that's all you could kind of ask for, from a new guy coming in trying to improve the lineup. Also, as mentioned earlier, the whole cap preservation flexibility argument. We didn't mortgage the future like years past with some of these other rosters we've had. We've seen some horrible trade in our Knicks fan lifetime. Leon Rose made some very, very careful decisions. This go around, it wasn't about going after the big name. It wasn't going after getting another complimentary star. It was about the bench and fortifying the bench and making the bench stronger and having somebody behind Brunson as well to spell Brunson. So that way you ain't got to keep using Brunson 35, 40 something minutes a game. Overall, I give you a B plus, Leon Rose. Real talk, I give you a B plus. Real talk. Because only reason why it's a B plus because it's the best he could do for circumstances with where the team stands, cap wise and everything else. So yes, I definitely give him a B plus on
that. Leon Rose has yet, since his appointment as president of basketball operations of the New York Knicks, has yet to make a deal that A, didn't make sense, B, we got fleeced over, or C, hurt us in the long run. Saying that, though, my final grade thus far, given we're not at training camp yet, is actually just a B. And it's only that low for one reason.
He didn't get Bobo.
My biggest issue with Leon Rose was the appointment of Mike Brown in terms of appointing him as the head coach. Not because that Mike Brown is not qualified, not that Mike Brown doesn't deserve it. My issue was the whole the monotony and craziness of Knicks asking other teams to interview their head coach who are currently under contract or subject to a contract extension, knowing full well that they were going to be told no, and letting that be leaked down to the media. Because again, it's tough being in the city. It's tough walking around the city because things happen and people notice. When something happens here in New York City, and it gets noticed, it goes really worldwide, and no pun intended to William Wesley. But the thing was that the fact that we were hearing so many names, hearing so many no's, and the butt of the jokes that we became for that, I took an issue with that. But aside from that, he addressed the bench, he addressed the coach. He addressed, a lot of discrepancies with this team. He found a way to re-sign Mikal Bridges to a team-friendly deal. He did it with Jalen Brunson last season. He kept OG Anunoby. Now he's got to figure, coming next season, he's got to figure a way to do that. The same thing with Mitchell Robinson, and so on and so forth. But so far, it's a pure B. Above average grade. Only issue I had was the coaching search. Not having a definitive plan to what you were going to do once you fired Tom Thibodeau, after the performance he's gotten you, after all the praise that this panel and multiple panels across Knickerbocker Nation would tell you. Tom Thibodeau did something that hasn't been done in 20, 30 years, and we are all thankful to him. And for you to fire him and not have a plan behind that, really bother me. That's why the grade is low as it is.
Yeah. So this is, I don't know. This is how I feel about the coaching thing, right? In hindsight, I don't know. Maybe I might be reading too much into it. I feel like it's like, a trick magicians do. Look at my hands over here. Yeah, I mean, look at this hand, and why I'm doing this, because the way we got Jordan Clarkson out of nowhere, that was tough. We know how much money this guy is worth. Yeah, I mean, like, he's not getting honestly, he's not getting what he's worth with the New York Knicks right now. He could have got way more money elsewhere, right? Yabusele, he's not getting what he's worth. He could get more money. He had a really good season last year. He's not getting what he's worth. But look, we're stupid. Look at me. Oh, but the whole time I'm like, yeah, let me go grab Jordan Clarkson for like half of what he worth. Let me go get Yabusele for half of what he worth. But y'all so busy laughing. Look at these guys. They trying to get coaches that's already signed. Like, I kind of feel like it was sleight of hand. That's what it feels like to me, because if you look at how tactful that Leon Rose has been since he's been here, the moves that he's made, ain't nothing been by mistake. Even when we had this setback of I like to call it the regression year with Kemba Walker and Evan Fournier, it was addressing needs of the team. We lost to the Hawks because we didn't have no scoring from the point guard position, and we didn't have no three-point shooting outside of Reggie Bullock. So he tried to change that with bringing in Kemba Walker and Evan Fournier. It backfired, but it was a strategic move. It was intentional. Ain't nothing happened by mistake. So that's why I look at all the moves since then, and I'm like, that wasn't by mistake. He wasn't just winging it. For sure, he wasn't just winging it. There was a reason behind it. I can't say for 100% sure that it was sleight of hand, but it was definitely a reason behind that he made such a spectacle by going to interview all these coaches that he knew that he wasn't going to get. You know what I mean? Like, and then you turn around and before you know it, they're like, oh, snap, Jordan Clarkson off the board? Wait, well, how that happened? wait. Oh, Yabusele, they got Yabu for how much? You feel me? Like, he's still under the second apron? Like, how does that work? Yeah, I mean, but that's why I give him an A, because I think he did a masterful job. I do understand what Knickerbocker was saying about the whole spectacle and making us a laughing stock again. I just think it was more strategic than it was by accident. You know what I mean?
I was on mute when I started talking, but me and Tea Time is right here. We right here, because I literally was about to say, I understand where Knickerbocker came from because it was super frustrating. But as you sit back and look back at it, you can see Leon Rose giving the media, the New York media, the finger on it. Like, okay, I'm going to give you a reason to talk shit since y'all just like talking shit. I mean, I can only hope that was the case. But I would give him an A as well. I think he addressed everything that needed to be addressed for us this season, right? Like, we needed bench. We already had the best starting five in the league, right? Nothing needed to be done. He made sure that stayed intact with re-signing Mikal to a decent contract, let's say, right? Let's not forget, everyone that he signed this offseason, is for less than what they're worth.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Facts.
He addressed the bench. I think our bench got way much better. Way much better. We say it all the time, but I truly believe this season we have two starting fives. Our bench is going to be so fired this season. And that was our weakness. That our bench was super weak last season, and look how far we got with a weak-ass bench. You know what I mean? Like, on paper should have been better, right? Because, what's his name? I already forgot his name because he ain't on the Knicks no more. I I forget.
What position he played?
Fournier?
Payne.
Campaign.
Once Payne went to shooting everything and missing everything, our bench was what? DeLon Wright and Landry Shamet and Deuce. You know what I mean? From what everyone says, the worst bench in the league. And we just did everything. He did everything he needed to do to make it so much better. Our bench is going to compete with the benches of the rest of the league and not have any problems. And it's going to be fun to watch as a Knicks fan. I think even bringing in pieces to benefit the pieces we already had, like Frass was saying, Mitch, we've seen videos off season after off season of his shooting and, you know, what he could possibly do. But now we have the guys that can make that happen, right? We now have the guards that can facilitate for him. Well, we know that's where Jalen Brunson lacks as a point guard, right? The facilitating to the big man, to the throwing the lobs to the big man. We now have a Clarkson that can do it. We now have a Malcolm Brogdon possibly that can do it. So not only did you bring in guys that could give just for themselves, but also benefit the guys that we do have. I don't remember an offseason where we made moves early on, right? Because we signed Clarkson and Yabusele early on this offseason. We're usually at the tail end of the offseason now signing the leftovers of the league, right? We're no longer that team. We're the team where people want to come to us. People are like, oh, the Knicks have a spot that I could fit in. Let me go there. Let's make it happen early on for less money. You know why for less money? Because there's money to be made in New York outside of basketball. That's why. You think Jordan Clarkson's not going to get an endorsement to be a model or to model someone's clothing or stuff like that? That man is going to make money in New York.
He's probably going to roll for Law and Order SVU next season. I'm pretty sure.
It's Fashion Week. He's there.
He's there.
I was about to say, it sure is Fashion
That's
Week.
New York. He will be there. He has the look, the hair, everything.
He already there.
The persona.
He got the front row seat. He said, right in the front row, that whole joint. Like,
He outside right now.
But it's super good and super fulfilling as a Knicks fan to see people want to come to us and not us beg guys to please give us a chance. This is what you could possibly do for us as a team. Now it's them picking us. And as a fan, especially a fan of all these years, it's so fulfilling. It's so fulfilling that all these guys picked us.
Yeah. Leon Rose is the GOAT. You know what I mean? And I need him to start getting his respect. You feel me? Because I think over his tenure, from when he took over the Knicks to now, I think it's been a masterclass. To the point where it's undeniable now, where it's always been LOL Knicks. It's always been national media super scrutiny and won't give us our credit. To the point where they have to be like, yeah, Knicks are the favorite to come out of the East, and they're strong favorites. You know what I mean? He put us in a position where they have to give us our props, or you look stupid and you look like you don't know basketball. You know what I mean? Granted, some injuries may have helped that along, but at the same time, even if those guys were still healthy, you would still have to look at the Knicks with the new additions and be like, yeah, Knicks still could beat those guys. You feel me? Because before Jason Tatum got hurt, we smacking them up, beating them down, pause. You know what I mean? But in the Indiana case, still, you can look at this roster and be like, yeah, the reason why Indiana beat the Knicks because they were deeper. Now look at their bench. The Knicks starting five is better than the Indiana starting five, and now they have a bench. So you could say that the Knicks would beat Indiana even if they were healthy, even with if Turner would have stayed. Like you still would have had to give us our props in what Leon Rose did this offseason. This is why I give him an A. You feel me? You know why I didn't give him an A plus, but yeah, I mean that's neither here nor there. But the A is valid. Yeah, Knickerbocker.
I think the plus for me to change my grade to an A and maybe an A plus, and then give him the title that you gave him earlier, the GOAT. He's got to bring us another banner. That's all it is. He brings us a banner. He's the GOAT. I'll give it to him.
Yeah. And he put us in a hell of a position, man. I feel like right now it's up to everybody else. I think he did his job to the best of his ability. I don't know what else you wanted. What else do you want? Like I really can't sit here and be like he should have did this, except for getting Bobo. That's the only thing. You know what I mean? Except for getting Bobo, that's the only thing he should have did, but he didn't. I'm not gonna cry over spilled milk. I'm not mad. You know what I mean? You muted, sis. You muted.
Unmute,
And
sis.
you muted. Oh.
My bad. I have dogs here, so I don't want the barking. I said it ain't spilled milk yet because we don't know what's gonna happen. You said it could be someone that we have no idea.
Yeah, but yeah. So you know, I just think I can't name a move that he should have made that he didn't. Yeah, I mean, I don't see anything that I'll be like I'd rather this over that. You know what I mean? Like,
Let's just be realistic. The best non-move he didn't make was trading for Paul George. That was the best move that he didn't make.
Or sign Ben Simmons.
Thank you.
This is all media driven stuff. You feel me? Like, and I think that was one of his biggest. That is one of his biggest strengths as president of basketball operations is not being pressured by the media to make knee jerk moves. You could go back to the Donovan Mitchell trade when they wanted us to give up everything. You know what I mean? Look at everything that we saved. Look what it produced. Yeah, I mean, you go to the Donovan Mitchell trade. Yeah, you get Donovan Mitchell, but you don't get OG Anunoby. You don't get McCall. Like there's moves that were made that you don't get because of that one trade. And I think, me personally, this is my personal opinion. You're more than welcome to feel any other way. But my personal opinion is McCall and OG together is more versatile than what Donovan Mitchell brings. 10 times more versatile than what Donovan Mitchell brings. And I'm not saying that to try to shit on Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell is a hell of a scorer. You know what I mean? He's a hell of a scorer. You know what I mean? But at the same time, that's it.
We got one of those.
Round. Yeah. That's it. That's what we would be.
Yeah, that's it. But when you got two defensive demons, you know what I mean? Because I don't know what kind of basketball most of these people was watching when they was complaining about Mikal Bridges' defense over the last season. And I'm like, y'all clearly haven't been watching Knicks basketball. He's been a demon all season. He's been giving people fits when he was allowed to guard and not switch everything. People forget, like, they be like, oh, this person went for 30. I'm like, yeah, but we switch everything. Those are mismatches. Them people hunting Karl Anthony Towns and hunting Jalen Brunson. You know what I mean? And whoever else is on the court when, like, OG's not on the court. They was hunting other people. But the numbers dictate. When McCall is checking his man, the numbers for everybody look sad. Super sad. You know what I mean? How many game-winning defensive plays that he made last season? You got to use two hands to count them.
Playoffs included.
Playoffs included, the most important
Playoffs
ones.
included.
The most important ones.
He got like 4 in the playoffs alone. You know what I mean? So you don't get that guy if you made that trade for Donovan Mitchell. There was some other ridiculous trades that were being thrown out there that the media wanted us to make that I I'm glad that they didn't make,
including Giannis.
Yeah. Oh, Giannis. Oh,
including Giannis.
Bro, if we would have traded for Giannis, that would have set us back another 5 years, for sure.
At least.
For sure. You know what I mean? Like, and he's a great player, don't get me wrong, but what it would have cost, the foundation that we would have had to give up to get a Giannis, it wouldn't have made us title contenders. It would have made us really good. We would have been really good. You know what I mean? Like, shout out to Leon Rose.
We'd have just had another superstar. That's it. It wouldn't have been fun to watch.
Facts. All right, moving on.
Talk about having another superstar. Let's talk about the last great one, who was just enshrined into the Basketball Hall of Fame. At forward, at 6'7" from Syracuse, number 7, Carmelo Anthony. That was my first impression.
So, what I'm going to say about that, first of all, congratulations to my man Melo. Big facts. You know what I mean? Well deserved. You know what I mean? First ballot, absolutely undeniable. Melo, it was a point in my Knicks fandom. I was becoming weary. I'm not going to lie. After, the 90s, he was in the doldrums. I got a little bit excited because I love Stephon Marbury, him being from Brooklyn. You know what I mean? So he had me a little bit excited for Knicks basketball, but it was still tough shit. It was still very tough shit, even with Marbury. But that when Melo first got to the Garden, I remember the coming home video in his first home game. I remember sitting there watching the TV and having literal goosebumps.
Still do. You go and rewatch that video and you still get goosebumps.
And I'm like, and you couldn't tell me at that moment in that time that we wasn't going to win a championship. I would have fought out there. I was on the verge of fighting people when they told me we wasn't about to win a championship. You know what I mean? It didn't happen. I think mostly because of poor, GM and president basketball operation management. No real fault to Melo. They just never put no team around him worth shit. You know what I mean? Except for the old timer squad. You know what I mean? Where everybody retired the very next year.
All the OGs.
yeah, everybody retired the very next year. But it was amazing times watching Melo in the Garden, man. Amazing, excited times. Some of the best performances I've seen since the 90s since Patrick Ewing, because Melo put up some amazing performances at the Garden and away from the Garden. You know what I mean? Still holding the record for most points scored in the Garden. You know what I mean? And that's tough. You know what I mean? I'm proud that he's a Knick, once a Knick, always a Knick. His Hall of Fame speech giving New York the props, the fan the props. That was very heart-wrenching and touching because
Rose misses another.
Yeah,
Come on.
Iconic. Excuse me. Cash Money.
Dang.
What we talking about? What we talking about? He's different. When I'm saying different, that is a different human being on a basketball court. One of the best scorers all time. I think, and the reason why I say this because he does it at all three levels just as efficient. You know what I mean? Shout out to Melo. Congratulations. I thought it was super dope his son putting his jacket on. I thought that was the most fire shit ever. You know what I mean? I think that was the most fire shit ever. Melo put the fix in, find a way to get Cayenne to the Knicks because he going to be fire. I'm going to be watching mad Syracuse basketball. You know what I mean? And I'm really not that big of a college basketball fan, but I'm going to be watching mad Syracuse basketball. But congratulations, Melo. Well deserved. Boom. And let's not forget, don't he got the most medals of any team NBA basketball. Yeah, all right. USA basketball. Yeah, all right.
He's currently one of the most prolific Olympic international place scorers, as well as he does own 3 Olympic gold medals. I think that is the record right now for professional basketball players, which is insane because with the Olympics, the way it's structured every 4 years, you would think that the guys would be jumping at that opportunity. He most of the time did, and he showed out every single time. Obviously, guys like Steph and LeBron and Giannis and other guys, they're the ones that people are looking forward to, and they really harp on, or they probably just only recognize. But to deny in any way, shape, or form the ability, the talent, and the heart that Carmelo Anthony did just in international play. That's not even counting everything he did in Syracuse, winning a national championship, being drafted, and basically putting the Denver Nuggets on the map again, because they haven't been relevant since the Kemba Mutombo days. And obviously, there are more now with the Jokic era, but Carmelo Anthony's the one that set it up. And then when he made the move and he requested the trade, and he was traded in February 2011 to Madison Square Garden, and I'm coming home played, and an era of Knicks basketball that hasn't been seen in a long time was born. Knicks tape, the Phil Jackson years, the 52 win season or 54. I mean, you can talk about all those things. Carmelo Anthony has been a professional at every level of basketball, has been the utmost, is one of the most prolific scorers that ever existed in this world. Probably, I mean, you can put up the numbers. I don't have the graphic ready, or I should have been, but you can make a strong case whether he and Bernard King are like really on the neck and neck level, because not a lot of us even remember Bernard King. But we're always going to remember, this generation is always going to be appreciative and remember Carmelo Anthony wearing that number 7, wearing that orange and blue at Madison Square Garden, and the way he encapsulated that in his Hall of Fame speech, it actually kind of put a tear in my eye, because you'd always wonder when guys go into the Hall of Fame, like, how will they be remembered? Will they be remembered as, a member of this team or that team or that team? So in Melo's case, will he be remembered as a Nugget or a Knick or a Thunder or a Laker or a Bull or whatever team he was on? And he put it out there. He wants to be remembered as a Knick. And that, to me, speaks more volumes than just about anything else, for the exception, obviously, of winning a title. He came close in 2012. It didn't happen. He ran into a wall named Roy Hibbert, and that was it.
And injuries. Their squad was beat up. They were old and beat up.
Well, I will, since we keep mentioning it, I will show a little piece of it.
In the city of New York, the mecca of basketball, you gave me more than a jersey. You gave me an identity. From the lights of Madison Square Garden to the heartbeat of every borough, I felt that energy. I carried it. I became it. New York is not for the faint of heart. It's pressure, it's expectation, but it's also pride, power, and poetry in motion. You show me what it means to carry a city on your back with grace, with grit, and with love. To the fans, your passion never wavered. Even when things got tough, your fire lit up every corner of the garden. Every chant, every roar, every boo, every moment, we felt it. I had
to cut it off because we have a limit.
Shout out to Melo, man.
Facts. And just the way let me go. I'm gonna talk about the speech first, and then I'll talk about Melo. The speech, like you said, it touched my heart. One, his jacket was fire. Seeing the Puerto Rican flag in the jacket was fire. I think he's like the first Puerto Rican NBA player to make the Hall of Fame as well. Super
That's
dope.
tough.
One thing that me and Melo shared together, I don't know if y'all can see it, but we both have the tattoo in the same spot. I didn't get it because of Melo. I've had it since I was 18 years old. But it was super dope whenever I noticed that he had the same tattoo. I have a heart. He just has the flag. Him mentioning the Knicks and us fans and the city and saying that his soul will always be on 33rd and 7th. Like you said, Knickerbocker, you always think about players and where they'll be remembered. And it made me think, because whenever we think of Larry Johnson, we think of the 4-point play, right? Although he had much better years in Charlotte, he's forever remembered as a Knick. And that's going to be the same for Melo. And I joked about it after the speech with my daughter and Frank, and I said, if Melo didn't get drafted to Denver, he would have never mentioned him. You could see it in you didn't feel that same passion when he spoke about the Knicks and us fans and the city. You didn't feel that when he spoke about Denver. And it's unfortunate, and I don't think it had anything to do with him per se, but the way that that organization has treated him. Now, let me go back and say this. I was never a big fan. I'm not a fan of a player being bigger than the team, right? I'm a Knicks fan. And not saying that Melo was ever bigger than the Knicks. I think the Knicks made a terrible decision in making that trade the way they gutted the team for him, because it left him not in a good position to lead us to a ring, right? The whole point of getting a caliber of player like Melo is to win a ring. And you gutted the team and didn't leave him any pieces to make that happen. And in the following years, never built around that to make it happen. So it was so unfortunate for him. Luckily for us as fans, he gave us something to cheer about, right? Because he had his own great moments as a Knick, and, things that we'll always look back at, like his home, his first game and still getting the chills. That Easter game was super fire. His 62-point game where he was unstoppable was fire. And many other games was super dope to watch as a fan. It was just so unfortunate for him that the organization never built around him to take him to that level. I think if the trade would have never happened, and this is just my own personal opinion, and you gave him those role players that we had to give up for him, the whole dynamics of Melo's career with the Knicks would have been different. The trajectory of his career with the Knicks would have been completely different. And that doesn't take away from him and his Hall of Fame at all. He's absolutely deserving of it. What he brings to the game, what he brought to the game, and he probably still could school a bunch of dudes that's in the league right now. Absolutely deserving of it. I'm not a huge Melo fan. Frank is. We have this conversation all the time. But as a Knicks fan, on the day he went into the Hall of Fame, I put on this jersey with pride and I wore it outside. And I continue, and I always will. I wear all my Knicks jerseys. I don't care if they're not Knicks, if they didn't do good. If I bought the jersey, it was for a reason. But absolutely deserving of it. So proud of him. And I'm so glad he put so much into Cayenne and his other children. Giving them that love during the speech was super important. And his the part of the speech where he talked about dads was super important and super touching. Even though I'm a mom, it was super important because, dads don't always get a lot of love. And when they put in the work, they deserve their flowers. And he deserves his flowers, what he's done with Cayenne. And like you, I'm not a big college fan, but I will be watching Syracuse because I'm going for that boy.
It's just to your point, Frass, before you go, I'm sorry, brother. That team that was broken up to get Melo, I'm drawing a blank on the president of basketball, Don Nelson.
Donnie Walsh. Donnie Walsh.
Donnie Walsh, yeah. Donnie Walsh, thank you.
But the move was instigated by Dolan.
Yeah, I know that part, yeah. Donnie Walsh had that team primed and built perfectly for Melo to just bloop.
Fit in.
All we needed was patience. Denver was in a space where they was going to lose Melo for nothing or trade him for Danilo Gallinari. And that's all Dolan had to do was wait. It would have been Melo for Gallinari, and that year would have been a championship year, I promise you. But, can't cry over spilled milk. My fault, Frass. Take it away.
Melo, the man, the myth, the legend, Red Hook's finest. You know what I mean? One of the most prolific Knicks of all time, man. So much more could have been had with Melo as a New York Knick on this team. I think I said it last show. Like Melo is one of the players who actually came here and wanted to play it. It was rare at the time because everybody knows how bad the Knicks was. The Knicks wasn't really making moves like that. So that kind of turned the scale around. Back to New York fair because New York was there at one point in the 90s, fell off after the 90s. The significance of having a player like Carmelo Anthony, who literally most of the time carried the team on his back, like he met the challenge with open arms, literally, and did not fluster in the face of adversity in New York. I mean, these are the type of players you want playing in this environment. Because again, he said it best. New York City will have you feeling the wet. Look at what we just talked about last episode with how Julius Randle tried to handle the pressure of New York by turning to marijuana. Right? Let's be real. So don't think that it ain't no pressure in playing in New York City. This is the Mecca. We got standards over here in the Mecca, all right? And you got to live up to those. Or else you're going to get turned into the speed bump, all right? And Melo could have been that speed bump multiple years. But Melo understood what playing in New York is about. And I think that's the reason why he deserves to go down in infamy and history as not only one of the greatest players of all time, one of the greatest New York Knicks of all time. Yeah. Because the greats always met the challenge.
So, check it, right? Now, I got a question. Being that Melo is now a Hall of Famer.
I know where you're going.
Dude, is that number 7 in the rafters? Is he the last player to wear number 7 as a New York Knick? My answer is he should be. He's a Hall of Famer. Some Knick fans might say, "Oh, Melo didn't win no rings. Neither did Pat. He's in the rafters." You know what I mean? I granted Pat is. He spent his a lion's share majority, let's say damn near all his career as a New York Knick. That's the difference. But Pat is a Hall of Famer. Melo's a Hall of Famer. Melo was here for like 7 years, right?
Yeah.
That's a large part of a career. You know what I mean? So in my summation, I think he should be that jersey should be up in the rafters. Let me know in the comments, yes or no, do you think Melo jersey should be retired by the New York Knicks? Panda, take it away.
Without to put it into context, let's go over the criteria into why your number should be retired. Are you one of the top 50 players of the NBA? Well, Melo is not. Pat is. Are you one of the top 75 players of all time? They both are. So there's a cap for Carmelo Anthony. Did Carmelo Anthony win any MVPs? No. He won a scoring title, though. Was he like the focal icon when you said the word New York Knicks for a period of time? Absolutely. Did his jersey sell? Absolutely. Did people want to buy sneakers? Absolutely. People, when you said the word New York Knicks, just like I said a minute ago about the icon, what was the first name you mentioned? Melo. So, just on that alone, credentials aside, all the statistics, everything else, you look at that criteria alone, I don't see how you don't retire number 7 for Carmelo Anthony. I actually posed that question when he left the Knicks, when he got traded away. I posed that question on Knickerbocker that moment, and it was like, all right, would we as a fan base, as rabid as we are, and as purists and traditionalists that we are, would we be okay if number 7 was worn by another player? Nah, I'm sorry. Somebody else wears number 7. I'm burning that mother. I'm straight up. It's like for me. It's like for most of us. You can't see number 2 on the New York Yankees being worn by anybody else. You can't see, number 11 for the New York Rangers worn by anybody else. You can't see number 10 for the New York Giants, number 92 or number 56. You can't see it. It doesn't register. It's too jarring. So without a fact, without any doubt, without any kind of question, Carmelo Anthony's number should have been retired already. But he's alive. Can we get it done, please?
I see why it wasn't. I think this was the last thing that needed to happen before it could be. It'd have been a lot of scrutiny because it's a lot of other New York Knicks legends, right? They may not have the same power as Melo, but there's a lot of other people who put blood, sweat, and tears into that jersey. That fans would have been like rabid about, like, how you gonna give him? But now this makes it undeniable. Like, yeah, we put number 7 in the rafters because he's a Hall of Famer. All the guys you screaming and crying about are not Hall of Famers.
I hear time because I hear, Bernard King should go in first. Oh, John Stark's number should be first. Charles Oakley. I mean, we can go down the list of many Knicks greats that we all love and we all remember, we all dear to our hearts. But just look at the credentials plus the records that Carmelo Anthony currently holds.
Yeah, Bernard King was here for 3 years?
Something like that. But
you're right. That's why his name is not in the rafters.
That's why 30's been won a couple times.
3 years. That's not long. That's not long enough to retire your jersey. Melo was here for 7. That's a big difference. There's a big difference. You know what I mean? Shout out to Bernard King. You know what I mean? No disrespect. I'm just saying. He wasn't here long enough. 3 years. You sneeze, you turn around, he was gone. And he was injured for some of that. No knock on Bernard King. He's a great Hall of Famer for sure. But I'm just saying, his tenure wasn't here. Here wasn't that long. And he was injured for some of that. He was here for matter of fact, he was here for 2.5 years, for real.
Besides, the anybody from that era, and I kind of became a Knicks fan around that era. The number one thing that people always said is that Had Bernard King been healthy when Pat came around,
Yeah, we don't want a championship. For
we
sure.
would win a championship. I've heard that repeatedly from the '80s Knicks fans. So then I say to you, you might be right, but it didn't happen, and it's not going to happen. Compare that to Carmelo Anthony, who carried this team for 7 years, who bore the weight of all that for 7 years, and still won a scoring title, holds the MSG record, and took this team to a game within a game of the Eastern Conference Finals. He would have ended the curse that we broke last year in 2012, and he almost did it.
If it wasn't for Roy Hibbert, ugly ass. My fault, Frass. Frass, talk to me. My fault. We talking over your time, Playboy.
I mean, listen. I think everybody knows how I really feel about Mel. He'll always be one of the greatest Knicks of all time. And honestly, you gotta throw that number 7 up there. You gotta throw that number 7 in the rack. I'm just saying, man. Like, for a guy who basically made an impact in a franchise that was dealing with the doom stages of being cellar dwellers and not having that prolific star like we were used to having through the 90s. You got to throw number 7 in the rafters, man. I mean, I get the point that Michael Irvin makes. Michael Irvin made a good point about something. And basically, he didn't retire his number 88 because people wearing his number 88, it still make you think of him. So in a way, I kind of agree with that. Because if somebody does wear the number 7 again, it's still gonna make you think to Melo. You know what I mean? But that's more the reason why the number 7 shouldn't be worn. You know what I mean?
Brad, I disagree with that. Basketball is different. You know what I mean? Football is not the same. Football don't make it a purpose to show the numbers that's retired as often. Right? They don't. Basketball, every other game, they're pointing up to the rafters and showing who's been retired and what they contribute to the squad. There's always a reference throughout the game to the past players that was on that team. Especially if you're watching the Knicks telecast, how often do we go back in the time machine during the Knicks telecast? Like, often. Even when we on national TV, it still happens. We're still showing clips of Clyde on ESPN. You feel me? I get what you're saying, but in football, that reigns true. You know what I mean? And because there's so many more players on the field. There's like 11 per on each side of the fucking field. It's 11 players on each side. And then you got offense and defense. There's a lot to be going on for them to be always trying to be, referring to the past. So for Michael Irvin, that is true. When somebody wear 88, they mention him. And no knock against Michael Irvin. He's nice. But he's not one of the greats when you talk about wide receivers. In my vision, he's not one of the. He's Jerry Rice, Randy Moss. No, he's not Megatron. I got Larry Fitzgerald higher than Michael Irvin. Like, I could go on. There's a list of people that you could put, like, he won't be mentioned in that same breath. I mean, maybe for the Cowboys, it's not the same. You know what I mean? But the reason why his number might not hold as much weight being retired because he's not, to me, he's not one of the greatest wide receivers of all time. He's one of the greatest of his generation. But of all time, he's not that. Melo is one of the greatest scorers of all time. He's one of the greatest scorers of all time. You might not put him in the greatest basketball players of all time, but he's one of the greatest scorers of all time. Yeah, I mean, I think he's in the top 20 all-time points. So what we talking about? Melo did that. 7 Raptors. Yeah. Melo did that, 7 Raptors. Yeah, I mean, we at an hour and 40 minutes. Let's go on to the next topic. Jeez Louise, what am I doing to myself here?
This for Uncle Paulie. Hold on.
Got the Melos.
Oh,
That's fire. That's fire.
Son.
She did it.
Yeah, for sure.
Nah, don't yo, Uncle Paul, you can't be the pause police and then come up here being all sentimental. How you gonna do this, man? You can't be doing this, Uncle Paul. I'm sorry. You my good brother, but nah, man, nah.
You know, with the season vastly approaching, training camp is literally right around the corner.
12 days away.
What?
It is 12 days away.
Yeah.
12 days away? Yeah. So literally right around the corner. So we are at an official countdown for training camp. With that being said, we have to look forward to, preseason and whatnot. You know what I mean? So my question to the panel, what are you guys expecting coming out of training camp and preseason leading into the season?
Honestly, for training camp and media day, I expect that there be a lot of. I'm kind of torn because at one point I'm thinking they could be very excited, enthusiastic, or they can be all serious and be ready to work because they know that the task is at hand. I said it last week. I've been saying it repeatedly. This might be the season that we've been waiting our whole lives for, and I think that the players are well aware of that. They know the responsibility that they carry, the expectation that they carry, and I think one of the comments said it earlier is like, this is for Mike Brown to do it. This is, it's up to him if we accomplish this. And so, with training camp coming up, so that means media day is going to come up, and then very shortly after that, October 2nd, the Knicks take on the Sixers in Abu Dhabi. I'm expecting either a lot of joy and jubilation or a lot of seriousness because the reality is that it's getting real, folks. It's getting real, and it's coming. And we're gonna have some ups and downs like every other season, but I think that this is the one where it's really gonna be a gut check, not just for the players but for us as fans, and I'm ready for it.
I'm super excited. I think not so much training camp, but preseason is gonna be hella fun to watch. We don't see too much of what goes on in training camp other than what they put out for us. But I think preseason is going to be hella fun to watch. I think they're going to be serious. I think this team, they're not a team of jokesters. You know what I mean? Like, they know what time it is. They know we got hella close last year, huh?
Except Josh Hart.
Except Josh Hart. They know that we as fans and as a city are proud of them, yes, but pretty disappointed in how it ended last year. Because we know that they're a better team than the Pacers. I think they're going to come out as serious as can be. I think that starts with JB. And we know his face is always straight face anyway. And I think everybody follows suit behind him, as they should. I think, the 3 guys we talked about today is going to be fun watching them compete. I'm ready. I'm ready today. I'm ready to watch Knicks basketball today. I go back on X and watch clips, and I go back and watch highlights of the Pacers and even the Detroit games. The other day, I watched a video on my phone of us celebrating tea time when we beat Detroit, and it was just super fun times. Like that feeling of being with family and watching those type of games, like I want that feeling back. And I know that this season is gonna bring that back. Plus some.
Listen, I go back and watch whole games. I ain't gonna lie. I watch whole games.
But just, I mean, I think the Knicks, this organization, and even the coach, even though he's new with us, he understands the task at hand. And I think they all understand, down to the non-guaranteed contract guys, that winning in New York will change their life forever. They will be in a league of their own if they bring us a chip. I think us Knicks fans, though, I will say this: we have to remain patient. Don't go flip-flopping on these guys early on.
I'm still taking fan passes, you know what I mean? So go ahead, flip flop if you want.
We have to
still
be
taking
patient.
fan passes.
I don't expect a bad, run. But like Knickerbocker said, there's ups and downs to the season. We can't just flip. We need all the positive energy going into this team, because this team, if healthy, can bring us to what we want.
The crash house is going to be epic this season. Yeah, I mean, it's going to one weird loss. You know what I mean, which happens to every team, no matter how good they are. There's always at least one or two losses where you should have beat that team throughout the season, but you take a L because it's an 82 game season and these things happen. But the crash house is going to be epic.
And that's a fact, Uncle Paulie. Him running up on us and me calling T-Top like, yo, Uncle Paulie just pulled up. And he running out the train station.
Yeah, they'll pull back up. Fact. Yo, who's left? Frass.
Well, this season, basically, I'm going to tell y'all like this, right? It's all about the system adjustments. It's all about the bench players and the roles they play after the starters. It's all about how everything comes together this year. Since I am the Parlay Lord, I'm going to let you know the Knicks are already the front runner to win the East because they got minus odds on pretty much all of the sports books right now on future bets for them winning the Eastern Conference. I seen actually minus 120 yesterday.
Already?
Yeah, it was like this. 6 weeks ago it was even like that. With better odds, let's be real. But yeah, I seen a minus 120 floating around out there for the Knicks to win the Eastern Conference this year. That should tell you something. Because when do you see the Knicks with that kind of odds? You're never gonna see them. All right, people. And at the end of the day, I think the potential for this team is there, as long as, like I said before, all the things that had to adjust come together this year. You ain't got a lot of continuity that needs to be made up. There's not much that needs to be fixed as far as the offense is concerned. Let's get it down to the little stuff of being in the right spot on certain plays that are called. And that's what things like that is what it's going to come down to this year.
Yep.
That's what it's going to come down to this year for the New York Knicks. And if they succeed on winning the Eastern Conference or not this year. Then I'm going to tell you like this. I believe the Knicks is the front runner to win the East. And I think they got the best chance as long as we come out and do what? Play Knicks basketball. Simple as that.
So, what I'm expecting, I'm going to start like Uncle Paul. The line is taking over. I'm going to start like Knickerbocker. What I'm expecting for media day is the normal Knicks spirit with Jalen Brunson at the helm. Very jovial, very lighthearted, but also super professional. Yeah, I mean, like, they know the task at hand. I think our captain is the perfect leader for this situation that we have in front of us. Uh, know how to keep it lighthearted, but still show the team through action how to work hard. Uh, and going into training camp, I expect us to actually run practices and plays. You feel me? To me, that's huge. As much as I like Coach Tommy T, as much as I wanted him to keep his job, that's always something that I thought that was a little bit weird. But with coupled with how he played his players, it made sense that he didn't run practices that much, But you need, like, this is why I feel like we always get off the slow starts, because we're not well prepared by action, right? Like, we're learning on the fly in games. So we have slow starts because we haven't run these plays physically at full speed. So things are looking weird. We running plays, we doing walk throughs. That's not the same as full speed. But what we do know from Mike Brown is that he runs hard practices, but he also played 10 players. You feel me? Like, so I think that trade-off is going to benefit us more in training camp. Yeah, I mean, going into preseason. And from preseason, I'm just excited to see, the rotations. What kind of rotations that Mike Brown is going to be running, like, or getting the idea of, like, what his vision is for this team. Because, obviously what happens in preseason don't mean that's going to be the rotation for the regular season. But just to get an idea of how he sees how everybody can or may fit on this team, that's going to be super dope. And going into the season, I think the motto should be BTA, belt the ass, all season long. That should be the motto, belt the ass, BTA. That's what I wanted. That should be the mantra for the Knicks all season long. I'm talking about the goal should be go out every night and embarrass everybody you play. Because I just think we're that good. That's how good I think this team is, that we have the ability to BTA, belt the ass, embarrass everybody we play. You know what I mean? Everybody. I want people to have nightmares when they think about having to play the Knicks. Because everything in life is not only is a physical thing where you have to actually, do the action. A lot of this shit be mental too. If you defeat somebody mentally before the game even start, guess what's going to happen? You're going to have a whole lot of easy games because people going to psych themselves out. And I think going into the season, that's one thing that Cleveland had going for them, like, after they started getting on the roll. I think they psyched a lot of people out. I think they had a lot of easy games because they was kicking people ass. And people was like, oh, my God, we got to play Cleveland tonight. And they get out there and they nail it. Huh?
Including us.
Yeah. And I think a lot of teams mailed it in. I want some easy games just because people are scared to play the Knicks. So the mantra should be BTA, belt to ass, all season long. You know what I mean?
For all our Hispanic people, that means saca la correa y métele un vergazo, coño.
This nigga stupid.
Nah, facts, yo. Nah, that's what's up. But yeah, I think Knickerbocker said it. I can't remember. Like, I guess this is before we went on our hiatus. This might be the season of prophecy, man. Like, this might be the season that we've all been waiting our whole entire lives for. So the mantra should be BTA. They ain't gotta say it out loud. They ain't gotta say it on social media. But in the locker room, BTA, belt the ass. We going out there tonight? What we gonna do? BTA, belt the ass. I don't care who it is. I don't care. It could be the defending champs. BTA, belt the ass. That's the mantra. Go out every night knowing that we better than y'all. We gonna play better than y'all. We gonna execute better than y'all. We deeper than y'all. Our starting five is better than y'all. Our best player is better than yours. Our fans is better than y'all. Our drip is better than y'all. We look better than y'all. We smell better than y'all. We eat better than y'all. We drink better than y'all. You know what I mean? Like
We
the
buy
city
more
that we
tickets in
playing
your
is better than.
arenas.
Our arena is better than yours. The city we playing is better than y'all's. Our fan base is better. Yeah. Rewind. Your jerseys is
Pull up,
trash.
selector.
Your fans is trash. Your food that y'all eat out there is trash. Your arena is garbage. Yeah, all
Your
that.
city is boring. Yep.
All that. Your city's boring. Yeah, all that. Yeah, facts. That's how we BTA all season, gang. You know what I mean? That's how I'm going into next season, and that's how the Knicks should approach next season. BTA all season. But yo. Last thing before we get up out of here, because we approaching 2 hours. What are y'all doing to me? This is two times. In the last 2 shows, y'all got me on live 2 hours. I
2
don't
words, long-winded. Got him.
Yeah.
I can do that.
There's two.
Long-winded. Go ahead.
There's 2 times back to back. But moving on to the final topic of the night, the Parlay Lord with his picks. But Parlay Lord, tell me how you did last week before you get into these week's picks.
Well, you know,
What just happened?
last week, I gave y'all some picks last week. We 7-3 last week. If you was rocking with the Parlay Lord last week, I called the Bills upset of the Ravens last week too. By the way, if you was paying attention, I called that. They was down 15 with 4.5 to go. The Bills still won at plus money. I called that. The Parlay Lord did that. Remember, I told you here first. 7-3 after week 1. So here's what I got for y'all for week 2. I ain't even gonna be long. We ain't even gonna go into the odds and the payout. We just give y'all the plays. That's it.
Hold on. Gotta do the disclaimer, folks. Gotta do the disclaimer.
Go ahead. Hit me with it.
Ladies and gentlemen, the picks, the opinions of the Parlay Lord do not reflect completely the Knicks and Ish. However, if this is not actual financial advice, this is just
Entertainment purposes only.
Please gamble responsibly. If you know someone who has a gambling addiction problem, please call the telephone number. I don't even have it in front of me, but you know what I'm talking about. Please gamble responsibly. Go ahead, Parlay Lord.
Again, this is not financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. So please be advised. I'm gonna start with my over and unders for this week. I like the Bills and the Jets game to go over 46.5. I think it's gonna be some scoring in that game. I don't think it's gonna be like years past where they've had low scoring affairs. The last couple of years they've had some pretty high scoring affairs between the Bills and the Jets. I like the over at 46.5 for the Bills and the Jets. Also, for the Niners Saints game, I like the under at 40.5. I think Brock Purdy is injured this week. He won't be starting. So I think that game turns into a low scoring affair. Mac Jones at quarterback for the Niners and Christian McCaffrey having to be the primary weapon on offense for the Niners. Yeah, I see that being a low scoring affair. I like the under at 40.5. The last over and under I got is the Vikings Falcons over 44.5. JJ McCarthy, look at what he did last week. He brought them back from a loss and basically came back and won it after he threw a pick 6. I mean, you can't count that kid out. That kid plays with tremendous heart, and he just, he leaves it on the field. I like the over at 44.5 for the Vikings Falcons. My money line picks for this week, week 2, are as follows. Again, we are taking the Buffalo Bills this week against the New York Jets. Yes, I'm rolling with the Bills again this week. Also, I'm rolling with the Vikings this week against the Falcons. And I'm taking the Baltimore Ravens over the Cleveland Browns this week. Those are my money line picks. And lastly, I'm going to leave y'all with a few anytime touchdown scorer picks for this week. Derrick Henry comes to mind first thing off the bat. Definitely Derrick Henry for a rushing touchdown this week. I like Travis Etienne in the matchup with the Bengals. Bengals run defense is bottom 5. I like Etienne to get a lot of carries, punch one in the end zone. I'm going with Travis Kelce this week against the Eagles. The Eagles, like most NFC East division teams, susceptible to the tight end. It's always a thing for NFC East teams. I like Travis Kelce to score. And aforementioned Christian McCaffrey, I think he's gonna have like 3/4 of the running back load in that game with the starting quarterback out. And those are the Parlay Lord picks for week 2 of the NFL season.
Hold on. I want to read the disclaimer again. Just give me a second. I had it.
I got it ready if you want it. The following segment includes discussions about sports betting and gambling. This content is for entertainment and informational purposes only. We are not financial advisors, and nothing discussed should be considered betting advice or guarantee of results. Gambling always carries risks. Never wager more than you can afford to lose. If you choose to bet, please do so responsibly and know your limits. If you know someone you know is struggling with gambling, help is available in the U.S. You can call or text the National Problem Gambling Helpline at 1-800-522-4700 for free and confidential support. And that is a disclaimer, folks. The Parlay Lord has spoken.
AKA, if you lose your money, don't blame Knicks and Ish. Don't blame the Parlay Lord. Blame yourself. Go get help.
But conversely, if you win and you hit something, shout me out. That's all I ask.
If you win, it's because of me. If you lose, it's because of you.
Big facts. Big facts.
Yo, listen. The wine is taking over. I have hit my limit. It is time for us to go. Yo. So, you know the vibes. You know what I mean? Shout out to everybody that pulled up tonight. We appreciate you. If you didn't do so already, make sure you hit that like button. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe. Hit the notification bell. Set it to all so you don't miss any lives. You know what I mean? Sharing is always caring. You feel me? And make sure you... I said subscribe already, right? Yeah, but so what? Subscribe again. Make sure you go to the YouTube page and go visit the Knicks and Ish Shopify. Cop you some merch. You know what I mean? And what you pointing to, Frass? I don't know.
The link for the Shopify is running across the bottom of the screen.
But yeah, it's running across the bottom of the screen, but it's easier if you just go to the YouTube, and on the YouTube page, you could go right to the Shopify from there. But the link's there if you want to be hard-headed. That's on you. But, again, shout out to everybody that pulled up tonight. We appreciate y'all, and we will see y'all next Friday. Same bat time, same bat channel. You know what I mean?
And in the words of our Hall of Famer, stay mellow.
Boom. That was fire. Hold on, Frass.
Hit the outro.
Mic check 1, 2. Tell these rappers I'm outside, get them start acting up. Turning hoes to housewives and cleaning the ratchet up. Do it all from boom back to melody rap. If they can put you in the box, then you might as well pack it up. Bars having bars, no cap, I'm Attica, you a precinct. How y'all competing when y'all just decent? Your rhyme efficiency's like logic simplicity. Don't tell me how much did you black, cause I don't see it.